This box here is heavier than you can imagine. And I'm Joshua from Agatebay. We are going to cut these exact rocks open today. These are the so-called Swazi Agates from Mozambique. And these are absolute killer pieces. I've been picking some of the most promising pieces of rough stones I could find anywhere close to my hands. And these are just absolutely stunning. These are some of the largest pieces I've personally ever cut. I'm sure they're not going to disappoint. The first one is in a pretty solid size, but it is the smallest one of the entire batch. You can see it's got a gorgeous window right here with some pseudomorphs in like the bottom layer, I assume. Some beautiful pink reddish color surrounded by this bluish purple colors, and also a little bit of water level banding in this piece. I can see there's a little bit more white stuff shining through, which I think is probably more of the pseudomorph area. So I will be cutting from this point where I marked the fracturing line across here to just get two nice symmetrical halves out of it. And since the volume is pretty evenly spread, I can just cut across here and catch the biggest volume as well. All right, it's in. Let's get it done.
Wow. Oh.
This piece is almost good. Just gorgeous banding with the pink and the contrasting banding inside of it. Like a lot of those Swazi agates, they're pretty, yeah, they don't have like a lot of contrast in their banding. So a lot of these are pretty washed out. So this one has a fair amount of banding, but I think I'm honestly just a little too frustrated with these fracture lines that are like running right across this specimen. So we have a, no, I'm kidding. It's not gonna fly in the trash bin, but it will be ending up on an affordable agate pile because I'm just too frustrated to get it polished. And yeah, I'm just hoping there will be maybe one or two better pieces in this batch than this fractured one. Something I noticed with Swazi agates is that they can change pretty rapidly. You can see a pretty dull window with not much banding here at all. There is another window where it just shows clear chalcedony, and over here to this side just this gorgeous window over there with beautiful pink and white and red and blue banding. Really just a dream window that you can imagine. I don't really like this area much, and I see there's a fracturing line that seems pretty significant running through here. So what I will do, you can follow the fracture line all the way up here. So what I will do is stay pretty close to this area, even if I'm missing the biggest volume of the piece, just because the banding in these Swazi agates can change pretty quickly. The center of the banding of these Swazi agates is not always specifically also in the most volume centerpiece, so I don't mind just sacrificing and moving over to just a very slim area where I can catch the most banding and avoid this pretty significant fracture that is like splitting this piece more or less a little bit in half. So I will stay to the right of this window here, cut across here, so I'm not hitting this fracture, so just standing right next to it and then coming back to that window over here. And yeah, let's just see how it turns out and if I made my calculation somewhat correct.
Pretty nice.
The piece turned out really good. If I made the right decision, I don't know, but I think judging the circumstance with the fracture and the window over here, which I both missed, I think I made a pretty good cut with it, and this is how it turned out. Gorgeous banding. Also, we have been widely spared by fractures. I can only see this little fracture over there to the side. Just gorgeous contrast with the white, just really separating the blue banding from this inner pink, really, really intense pink banding. So it is a really gorgeous piece. The flow channel really beautiful as well. It's massive in size, of course, and I think it is a really beautiful specimen. I got the piece wet already and had a quick glance of what is happening here. We have a small, beautifully banded window over to that side. It seems to have great contrast with this white and very dark blue banding. Then we have a relatively large chunk where there's not much happening in terms of windows, just this little clear section here. And then there is a little bit more of windows going on here on that side. And that is more on the reddish type, which we don't really see on this side. and this area here, which is very, very flat broken. So this is usually an indication that there's a layer of water level banding that is probably stuck just in the bottom most, maybe half centimeter or centimeter, judging from the break, because I can see there's fortification here and all fortification here. So it could really just be that it's in the most bottom layer that we have the water level banding. I like the shape of it. It's pretty long and it gives me the chance to cut right through without any, things I need to be watching out for. I don't see any significant fractures that I think I need to take care of. So I think this is a pretty easy and stress-free cut. Right in, sitting there perfectly. I'm just missing that window up here at the top, and yeah, let's see how it goes.
Okay. Huh. A little different from what I thought.
This is a pretty typical Swazi agate. I was really hoping that this, really contrasting banding would push into the agate, but what we see here is that it was really just the outer few bands that we saw on this window here, and then it opens up to this pretty, chalcedony area. I mean, it's nice because it's multicolor with the blue and red. Just for myself, I just don't think I want to get it polished, and that doesn't mean that it's a bad piece. It just means I'm a little frustrated with myself because my expectations have been too high after seeing that window, and I was just hoping for too much. But with that in mind, I could, pretty much just be disappointed with the come out, and that's the reason why I will make it available to someone at a very affordable price. I took a little bit of time analyzing this piece for myself, and I came to the conclusion that it can be either terrific or terrible. It has beautiful windows, this one especially, just gorgeous banding. I see a little bit of parallax and this deep red color surrounded by the blue and white banding, and there's another window here with that same sort of banding. So it seems to be going through and not be changing on me too much. I see just the tiniest little bit of water level banding over here. This area here, down at the bottom of the nodule, I call it, is a little bit concerning to me because I think it will be a larger portion of host rock, so I want to stay a little bit away from that, just because it takes away of the volume of the rock overall if there's host rock penetrating into the stone. So I'm cutting right next to the window. You can see the host rock is kind of going down in this angle. So even though it seems like it's thicker here, it's actually about to get thinner. So I think I'm pretty hitting the sweet spot by having a angular like this, and then hitting the center of the slope.
Wow. That's what we're dreaming of. Wow.
It is really, I think, one of the top Mozambique agates I've ever been cutting. Just fabulous. With this beautiful banding, just like a flame reaching up, with the chromatography up here to the more saturated red color, more pink down here below with a little bit of purple and blue. It also has a little bit of the parallax I've been mentioning at the beginning, just here in the outmost white layer, but it's not very significant. Overall, just a absolutely stunning specimen, and this was very, very much worth it. This second to last piece is a very, very different one. I can see it has pseudomorphs and agatized areas all over the piece, this being the largest window, but there are smaller windows all across the entire nodule, pretty much anywhere. Usually I would be cutting a piece like this just because of the shape, but here in this piece it's not really about the banding of the agate, but more about these specific eyes and pseudomorph features. So in this case, I don't really have to watch for parallax or a symmetric face, but more for these interesting structures in this specimen. That's why I will be cutting a very different cutting approach in this piece, cutting it right next to this window all across here. And I will be ignoring most of these windows here overall, because you can cut through windows if there's no banding that's being interrupted. So you will notice after the cut is done that it will look way less broken off when there's only like these pseudomorph areas or chalcedony where there's no banding really visible, compared to when you cut through orbicular banding. I secured it with a little bit of wood support just so it's not slipping in any direction. and it's sitting in there pretty perfectly. So let's go ahead and cut it.
Wow.
And here it is, just a massive sized piece with so many different interesting features. You can see the pseudomorphs, there's a little dendrite hiding in here, there's some water level banding, some pink, some nice blue, white, purple. This has a lot going on in this specimen, but it also has a big portion where there's not so much happening. It's the center area that is mostly without much banding. It does have a few fracturing lines, and overall I would label it as being just a little bit too boring. And that's the reason why I think I will not get this piece polished. If it was smaller, I would probably get it polished myself, but for this size of a specimen I probably have to pay around, I'm just guessing here, but maybe $30 or $40 just to get it polished, and that is just another investment I don't feel like I am willing to take on this particular piece. So I'd rather sell it very affordable to someone who likes to work on a large size piece like this. There's also a huge potential to cut cabochons out of specific areas that are specifically interesting in this piece. But for me, it's just not another investment I want to take. So I'd rather sell it very affordable and not put any more money down on this piece. Yeah, this is the last piece and a very exciting one. It's so heavy that I think I need to put it down for a second because I'm just not strong enough. You can see it's all covered with these pseudomorph needles in the rim area, mostly in the bottom of it. It's got the fortification banding up top, but with more pseudomorphs in the center of the piece, which is kind of unique. That's something you don't see very often. I don't see any major fractures in this piece overall, so I will just take the loaf of bread and go right like this, trying to avoid the windows that are up top here. So I'm right above the saw blade right now, and I'm just able to close it.
Wow. That's pretty. Wow. 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 That is very, very good.
This piece is just a monster. It is so beautiful and turned out pretty exactly what I was dreaming for. You can see the pseudomorphs all around the entire bottom and side rim area, and then this spectacular center with the pseudomorphs, the pink banding, and this agate really has it all except for the fractures, and that is really what I like about this piece as well. Really stunning specimen right here. One thing I know is that this box is definitely not big enough to hold all of the agates inside here. When I cut really high quality looking rough stones, of course, I'm also just expecting the best, and this piece is just not meeting the expectations. The second one, however, is a really nice piece with a pink center and the white banding outlining this entire specimen. Loving this piece. This will definitely get polished. The third one, again, underperforming a little bit, just not enough going on in the center. In addition, with those couple fractures, it's not just quite good enough to get polished for me. Then we have the fourth piece, which is, in my opinion, it was the best of the bunch until we cut the last one. It's this massive flamey looking pink piece, and actually the pink stayed with us. Then the fifth piece, again, just underperforming a little bit, and with this size there's just another investment almost coming in with having to get these pieces polished. So this one just doesn't have enough going on, but the last one honestly is one of the best Swazi agates I have personally ever been cutting. It is just huge in size. Let's call it 8 inches wide and just so spectacular with all the pseudomorphs going on, and then here in the center with all the wild banding, the pseudomorphs, this super saturated pink color. This is a one-of-a-kind specimen, and I'm very pleased with this coming out at the end as the highlight. Most agates from this locality are more in a 2 to 4 inch size, I would call it. Some slightly smaller, some slightly bigger, of course, but this is really exceptionally sized specimens, and I am pretty glad on how these are turned out. I'm getting 3 of the pairs polished, and if you head out right over to my website, you will be seeing these pieces available if they have not been snatched up in the last few minutes while you've been watching this video. So next time, make sure as soon as the video is popping up to check out my website if you would like to get any of those pieces for your collections. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon again, and maybe you'll find a couple pieces you like for your collection. And if you do, you will also get a 20% discount if you order at least 10 pieces off my website altogether. So make sure to check it out, and I'll see you soon again. Thank you so much. Goodbye.